Just a quick question though. Do you believe trans women are women?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can we, Danielle?
Yeah, go for it. I just didn't.
It'll cheer her up. Come on.
I just debate mode now. You see?
No, that's totally fine. I just saw her comment.
No, you're right though. But you see, I'm so fixed onto it. Right? I'm like, even if I'm crying, I'm still gonna debate.
No, because that's Envyy. That's why.
We are here to back you and support you. So I was immediately like, we're not discussing the background, but yeah, it's your life. Do what you want, babe.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I just can't. As soon as I hear yes, I think men are women. I'm like, right, F the tears, let's go. Right, Sarah.
This is why you deserve money.
Would you be okay with telling me what a woman is? Oh, Tiffany! Thank you.
Basically, if you identify as a woman, you are a woman. If you genuinely believe in your heart and that's your soul and that's your heart, you are a woman.
But what is that? What are they believing that they are? Like, what is woman?
I mean, like, I just respect anybody who, like, if anybody says, like, oh, I identify as a woman, I'm like, okay, it's not my place to invalidate anybody or disrespect anybody, so I just accept it, and I'll just use any pronouns. I'll respect anybody. I'm not here to disrespect people. That's not my purpose in life. I don't have the energy to even fucking care about it, really. Like,
but Sarah, what is a woman?
A woman.
What is that? I mean, that doesn't tell me anything. What is it? It's 3 words. I'll give you a hint. When someone says they're a woman, what does that mean?
Hey, Summer.
It means that they identify as a woman.
Thank you, Summer.
But like, you just included woman in that same definition. Like if can you explain what it means to be a woman without using the word woman, Sarah?
Bro, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, can I be honest, Sarah? I think you know what it is, but I think you're afraid to say what it is because you probably have some friends that think they're women and you don't want to be mean. So you want to say, hey, okay, I'll accept you as a woman. But
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I have a really big heart, and I'm not an opinionated person on the topic because I'm not transgender. So I don't have an opinion on it because I don't have the experience of someone who is.
Can I say why you do? Can I say why you have an opinion on it? Can I ask, and this isn't to be offensive, but I'm assuming you were born female?
Yes.
Yeah, right. You absolutely have every right to have an opinion on it because you are a woman. You're an adult human female. And you have men that are saying they are what you are. And you have every right to say, no, you're not. Right?
Yeah, I just don't want to, like, I'm not the type of person to disrespect or hurt people around me, so I just typically try to stay out of that. The only thing that I have the opinion on is on the back of the screen it says, is it transphobic to not date trans people? And I don't think it's transphobic to not date that because people are allowed to have preferences, you know? Like, I'm like, if I don't want to date a trans person, it's totally fine for me not to. That doesn't make me transphobic. That just means I have preferences, and that's normal.
But Sarah, that's a good point. So I don't know what your sexuality is, but if you are attracted to men and you don't want to date a trans man, that is probably because you know they're not a man.
Well, I'm bisexual, so I really don't I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here or whatever.
Yeah, so I just think, like, if you are looking for a specific person sexually, right? Why would you exclude that category of people if you know that, like, if you believe that whatever they say is true?
It's just preference.
Like, why is that your preference? Like, what is it, like, what are you attracted to? Like that you would exclude them? Like, what? Because, like, I have a preference, like, my preference is for women, so, like, I only am into, like, you know, adult human females. But I also like have a preference, like, for this or that. Like, what are you, and a preference also means that you don't
It's
prefer
because
something,
there's a
like you prefer to
biological
not.
difference. There's a biological difference.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I believe in the biological difference. I believe that it's the identification does not change the biological aspect of the whole thing, and it's the biological preference, I believe.
Right. So, Sarah, if there is a biological difference and you believe in that, then how are trans women women?
I mean, like, they're women, but not biological women. Like, they can identify as a woman in every other term that's not biological, I believe.
So I just wanted to touch really quick, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but when you had said, you don't want to hurt feelings and you try to respect everybody, but the thing is that this is harming women. This is harming females in so many ways, and that to me is a greater threat than hurting someone's feelings.
You have a point there.
Like, I don't know if you know everything that's been going on, in the world, and it's, if a man goes into my daughter's gym locker room, right? And she's 18 now, so she's doing all these things on her own. And if she goes into that locker room and she wants to shower or get undressed after her workout, and a man walks in and says, "I'm a woman," I am immediately going to jump all over that, because my daughter's safety is way more important to me than hurting a man's feelings.
I feel like in that instance, I feel like it completely depends on how the trans person is presenting, like if they have had surgeries and how far along they've transitioned. Like, of course, if they still have a male genitalia, for example, if your daughter were to have trauma from men who have biologically male genitalia, I would understand that. But I just see, like, for example, if a trans woman has gone through surgeries and she no longer has that genitalia and she is fully transitioned, appears as a woman completely, I feel like that wouldn't be as much as of a threat.
But babe, how do you like stop the people who haven't gone through their transition? And for me, it's a no all around. If you're male, you are not invited, right? So how do you stop those people? Like, are you checking genitalia, for instance? Like, it can't just be, well, you can come in, but you can't. Like, who's going to monitor that? It has to be none. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to be checking the locker room? Or who's going to be for the women who are in a DV shelter and a man comes in, and this has happened and it ended horribly for this woman, right? So who is going to say you can't come in, but you can? Like, it can't just be, oh, well, you look like a woman, so you can come in. Like, it just doesn't work like that. There's no way to police that. And a male does not belong in the private spaces of females. They just don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no reason for it. They have.
I understand your perspective 100%. I wanted to say that I'm not on here to really debate or argue because I'm really not good at it. Honestly,
No.
I'm not that good at it, and I know people in the comments are kind of being a little bit rude to me.
Don't pay attention to the comments, Sarah. Like, this is not an attack on you. I hope you don't feel that way. Like, we genuinely want to have a civil conversation with you.
Yeah, we want to help you.
Just ignore the comments altogether, and we just want to have a dialogue. That's it.
Yeah, because we're for all women. Like, this is about, like, even if you disagree with us, like, our whole thing is, like, we want to protect you too. Like, this is about everyone's safety, privacy, and dignity.
Your siblings, if you have a daughter in the future, your grandmother. Like, this is all for the protection of women. And when we allow men into our spaces, it automatically can create harm. And like you said, even when you transition, like you still have a male brain, right? You still have that built-in aggression, if you will. I don't know how else to say it, but it doesn't change our brains, right? Even if we transition, you know what I'm saying? So it just opens the door for so much potential harm. And I personally, and I can speak for everyone on this panel, like I am not okay with that. I am not okay with chancing my daughter or chancing my niece. You know, I'm not chancing their safety because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like the anger aspect that you were talking about in male brains, as you were saying, comes a lot with the levels of testosterone and hormones 100%.
Did you know? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, it's okay. I said, I didn't know what I was going to say next.
I was just going to say, like, no matter how much you take hormones, right? No matter how much a man takes hormones to become, you know, try to become the opposite sex, from birth, they still have this. And it's just, if you are born male, you're going to have these things for life. And even like if you were going to go into like the sports talk, like you take hormones and all of that stuff, right? You're still going to have an advantage. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Envyy, it's 12 to 15%. You will still have that advantage always. If you go through a male puberty, you are always going to have those things, right?
So what is your opinion on, for example, trans women who have gone through the transition before puberty?
Well, I don't think you can actually do that. They take puberty blockers and then they would start HRT. So I still think that if you are a male, you do not belong. Because again, you're opening too many doors. And I think that's what happens. Or what has happened is women have fought alongside this ideology, right? And we want everybody to have rights, and we want to be, you know, this loving and understanding and caring person. But in the long run, it has done more harm and more damage. And I'll be one of the first people, if that community said, we're good with a third space, I will help advocate for that third space. But I will fight tooth and nail to keep you out of mine. You know, it's dangerous, and so many more things happen in our private spaces. It's not just about like going in and going to the bathroom, right? Like women have delivered babies in restrooms. Women have miscarried in restrooms. They've had, you know, a mess. I'm sure you've had that happen to you at some point where, you know, you're on your cycle and you have a mess to clean up, or oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Girls are having their scholarships ripped away from them after working their whole lives to get that scholarship and go to the college that they wanted to go to. And, you know, or breastfeeding in the restroom. Or I had a woman once who was in a DV situation, and I grabbed her and pulled her into the restroom, like, because I knew he couldn't come in, right? And I helped her call the police, and I waited until they got there and they arrested this man. Like, there's so many other things that we deserve. You know, we deserve that privacy and that dignity and that safety.
Yeah, that makes me think about where the boundary would be. Like, for example, for people entering the women's washroom, like, right, where would the boundary be? Like, do you have to just say that you identify as a woman to be able to go into the women's washroom, or do you have to actually be transitioned to be able to go into the women's washroom, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, how do we set the standard? Like, if we say, oh, you have to be transitioned, like, what does it mean to be transitioned? Like, how do we like determine, like, okay, well, this man is transitioned enough, so he meets our qualifications. Like, and a lot of people have like if you pass, you piss. Like, basically, if you pass.
And then if that were to happen, then people would say that it's discriminatory. If that were to happen, then it would be a whole issue.
And babe, that's what's happening. Like, especially in Canada and in Australia, women literally have no voice. Literal men who look like men can say, I'm a woman, and they're allowed access to all of these private spaces. And that's where we're all headed. So we have to really stand up and advocate and be loud and hurt those feelings and say, if you are male, you are not allowed. You know, that's why we do get so loud, and it's because we're passionate, and we are protecting all women, all girls, all of our loved ones. You know what I mean? Like, we have to do this because it's taking our rights away. And
it's so hard to have an opinion on something when you're raised to be a supporter of the LGBT community since you were like 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And then to come into womanhood and then see these issues, it's so hard to have an opinion on it because you're raised to be respectful and a supporter of the community. But then at the same time, you're also going into womanhood, and it's difficult to have an opinion on it. So I can see it from both perspectives.
You need to look at it as if, like, you're not raised to support the community, you're raised to deny your own existence as a female in this world. That's how I look at it, right? Because everything is community. I wouldn't even call it a community anymore, it's an organization. It used to be a community, but now it's an organization, right, that is pushing to eradicate our sex-based rights in law. So whilst you are supporting the rainbow community, in the same breath, you're advocating to remove your rights as a female from law. So if you would like to have a look, for example, Sarah, they have like the Yoga Carta principles, right? And this is something that they want to implement into international law, right? 189 countries have sat down and signed off and said a woman is an adult human female, a man is an adult human male. Under the Roman statute, gender describes the state of being male or female, and the terms man, woman, boy, girl are stages of development, right? So the reason why we call a female chicken a hen is so when I say to you, I have a hen, you know I'm speaking of a female chicken. If I say to you, babe, I've got a rooster, you know I'm speaking of a male chicken, right? So this is why we have the words are for stages of development. Now, what the Yoga Carta principles want to do is eradicate sex from law, right? Which means we will lose statistics globally, right? And if the 189 countries sit down and everyone signs off and says, you know what, yes, we will remove sex as a category from law. Say goodbye to your single-sex spaces. Say goodbye to equality and fairness in sports. Say goodbye to male to female rape statistics. We won't know how many males have raped females, right? We're not going to know these stats. We're not going to know how many female babies are unalived in buckets of water in other parts of the world. We're not going to know these things because sex will not exist anymore. And
yeah, that's not the smartest thing. That's like probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like completely removing that, because that's also very important. Like, I respect non-binary people. I have quite a few non-binary friends, and if someone chooses to like present androgynous and not go by male or female, or be a mix of both, or like the way they present, the way they dress, the way they speak, their mannerisms, all that stuff, I support that 100%. But that doesn't change much. You know what I mean?
It does. It really does, babe, because what we're doing, we're normalizing the verbal proclaim of what somebody is saying. So what we are saying is we're going to deny what we see objectively, and we are going to believe somebody's subjective feeling to how they feel about themselves, right? So then what we're doing, once we normalize that, and it's normal in society for people to run, you can't measure somebody's truth. You can't do that. You don't know if somebody's lying to you or not. So you're just going to go off of trust, right? And I always do refer back to the Little Red Riding Hood story. Yeah? Little Red Riding Hood believed the wolf. Even though she knew, she could see that, hey, you don't look like my grandma, but why do you have big eyes? And then the wolf's like, oh, the better to see you with, my dear. And she believes the wolf, and she stays with the wolf, and she's conversating with the wolf. And the wolf is telling her in a nightgown with a little hat on, the shower cap hat on, that I am your grandma. And then when she finally says, oh, grandma, but what big teeth you have, the wolf unalives her because she didn't believe what she saw and she only believed what she heard, right? And that is a story that we teach children, to believe what you see and don't believe what people say. Now we are trying to do the opposite and say, don't believe what you see, because there is no difference between a male or female. If somebody simply verbally says, I am, then they are. So then we're denying an objective reality, which is very dangerous. It's a dangerous playground. So you saying it's not a big deal, it absolutely is, right? Because if somebody's going to come up to you saying, well, I'm not a man or a woman, I'm not male or female, that is a lie. You are either male or female. It is what it is, right?
I mean, somebody who's aware of their biological, like their biological make and how they were born, like someone who says, hi, I'm biologically female, but I am androgynous. I don't like to be feminine and I don't like to be masculine. I like to sit right in the middle. So this is how I like to dress. This is how I like to perceive. I know that I'm a biological woman, but I want to be referred to as neither.
Yeah, but
and
it's the same thing. It's normalizing, denying reality, right? Because the pronouns, babe, are sex-based pronouns. That's why we categorize everything that is female on this planet as she. That's why we call female cats she and male cats he. Female dogs she, male dogs he, right? Because when we say he, we know we're talking of a male, right? And we know when we say she, we know we're talking of a female. Thank you for the hand heart. We know these things. This is what I'm saying to you. So when you say I'm somebody who sits in the middle of what? You sit in the middle of masculinity and femininity. But
in the way that they present themselves.
Yeah, but there isn't a way to present yourself as a woman, right? I'm a woman, but if I tie my hair up and I wipe off all my makeup, I'm still a woman, which means what you're saying is, and I'm not meaning that you're saying this on purpose, but you are alluding to the fact that there is a particular way that women present themselves, that should you not present yourself in this particular way, then you are not of that sex and you are not of that gender, right? This is why we're getting an influx of girls, young girls, aged 12, 13, 14, saying, well, I'm not a girl then, because this ideology is teaching me that I am sitting in the middle of some. Oh, thank you, Mary. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. The ideology is teaching young girls where it's like, well, do you like to play with this? Do you like to dress like this? It means, well, you're non-binary, because so you're putting a limitation onto the female sex, onto women, right? By saying that if you sit in the middle, then you're not, but you are. And in our definition of woman, which is an adult human female, we have put no limitations on it. Everyone who is an adult human female, irrespective of how they dress, how they look, how they talk, how they walk, how they act, how they behave, how they eat, how they sleep, how they shit, how they do anything, you are a woman. Whatever job you take as a female, you are still a woman, right? So this is what this ideology is doing. It's reinforcing sexist stereotypes way back from the 1600s. Because then how do you know you're a woman? If you don't know you're a woman because you're an adult human female, how do you know you are one? Because you like makeup? Because you like to wear a dress? Because you like to have long hair? So if that's what these men in these dresses are telling us, right? So then what we're saying is men don't have long hair. Men don't wear makeup. Men don't wear, but they do. A man can wear makeup. A man can have long hair, right? So there's nothing in this ideology that separates men and women. Like there has to be something about the category of woman that will exclude men. And I will always ask this question to a trans-identified man or a man. I will always say to him, what is it that me and you have in common that excludes all other men, right? So trans women and women. What is it that we all have that will exclude men? And they cannot give me one thing. The saddest thing that they've ever said to me is grape, right? but men get raped as well. So you can't use that as an example. So what is it? Because the purpose of a category is to exclude the other category. Do you see what I mean, Sarah?
I completely understand. I didn't even see it from that perspective until you said something, and that made me kind of understand that perspective. I've never heard that before, so I wanted to thank you for putting that perspective out there. I'm a very open person, and I'm very, just in general, trying to navigate life while not having heavy opinions on anything. And I kind of see that because that adds sexism to it, because I'm really bad at explaining myself in words. I normally type everything. I don't normally.
You're doing great. You're doing great, Sarah. Yeah, like I completely can see where you're coming from. Keep going.
It's like, so, like, for example, if somebody says they present female, that means that they're wearing makeup and stuff, but then at the same time, lots of men wear makeup and they're men, right? You know what I mean?
Look at Jeffree Star, Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made me realize that, is that Jeffree Star is a man and Jeffree Star wears makeup. Just because Jeffree Star presents female doesn't mean that he is one.
But the thing is, he presents feminine.
Yeah, feminine, that's the word.
Female, that's the difference. And this is where the issue has arisen. Do you see what I mean? Like, what the problem is, we are labeling, somebody said it in the comments, we are labeling our personality, right? You're just a man that has a feminine personality, and you like to wear earrings, and you like to, talk a particular way. So I want to accept these men for what they are. Right? Not what they want to be. And I'm okay with that. I can have a drink with them, party with them, whatever, have a smoke, cigarette, whatever it is, have a laugh with them, go party, do whatever it is. But I cannot accept you when you say that you are what I am, because I will not disservice women globally. It's womanhood. We have to stick together as women.
That shows how much of a reasonable person you are, where, for example, you don't agree with all these things, but at the same time you accept feminine men and you love them for who they are. And I know lots of people who don't agree with transgender people or the whole ideology of the entire thing, lots of them are very based in men should be men and dress like men, and women should be women and dress like women, and they're not open to that, and they're very sexist in that way and apply gender roles to everything. But you are open with that.
I think that's one of the reasons why we have this problem, babe, because you would have like a young boy growing up, right, and he's quite effeminate. Right? Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, babe. Bless you. So say he's quite effeminate, this young boy. And then you've got all the other men around him saying to him, you have to be a real man. You got to dress like a man. You can't act like that. You need to do this, that, and the other, right? Then what that's doing to that young boy is making him feel like he's not a man. So then what does he do? He says, well, if I'm not a man because I don't want to wear these types of things, or I don't. Then what does he do? He says, well, if I'm not a man because I don't want to wear, it means now it must mean that I am a woman. Do you see what I mean? So yeah. I believe that the strict stereotypes that were put in place has affected the young boys that don't necessarily want to be that masculine man.
You're thinking this might have been what created it in the first place?
Possibly. I can't say 100%, but just in my little mind, sometimes I think. Let's say, for example, like my brother, he's quite masculine though, right? But let's just say hypothetically he wasn't. Like, a lot of the men in my family, pretty much all of them, are quite masculine. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, let's just say my brother was effeminate. Let's say he was, hypothetically, and he was surrounded by all these masculine men. And they kept going at him. You're not masculine enough. You're not masculine. You're not masculine. You have to do this. You have to act like that. These are the roles of a man. But then in himself, he's like, but I want to do ballet. I want to do makeup. I want to be a makeup artist. I want to do these things. And because what he's seeing, he isn't aligning with the other men that are telling him that, oh, he's not a man because he's not breaking down a wall, he may just think, well, then I'm not a man then, am I? I must be trans then. So I do think it may have a part to play in it.
Yeah, that's reasonable, though. I just wanted to ask if you could let Sam up. I know Sam really wants to come up. I just saw the message on there.
All right. Sam, no arguing today, yeah? Please, because I don't want to get my account.
Hi, Stinky.
Hi, Smelly.
Can I just have a word with...
Because you have a really good guest right now, Sarah. I figured it would be beneficial to somebody from the other side is also talking to her as well.
Sarah, he's an effeminate man. This is an effeminate man, but
I'm a transsexual, but...
He has the audacity to tell me that is a woman. But
Sam, your hair is really pretty.
Thank you.
His hair is nice. But it doesn't mean he's a woman.
I don't think my hair makes me a woman. But I was actually agreeing with you on a lot of things you were saying about the children being indoctrinated into like what exactly a man is and how that can make children spiral and question their own gender identity and their sexuality as well for no reason. Like the only reason you should question your sexuality is if you have like a same-sex attraction, but instead children are being kind of forced to question themselves because of what they're interested in. So when you were saying that, I was actually agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a first.
No, it's not.
Well, are you agreeing with me on other things?
Yeah,
do you agree that you're not a woman?
No, I do not.
Well, then how? Okay, look, Sarah, like, come on, babe, like, let's not be the blind.
Because what? I don't have makeup on? You were just saying that...
Are you telling me there's no difference between me and
You were just saying that makeup does not make a woman, but you're being rude and you're acting as if I'm less trans because of how I look right now.
No, you're not less trans.
That's how you're acting.
No, I'm saying you're not a woman. I'm just going to do a quick disclaimer. I love the trans community. I love the LGBTQIA plus everybody's mum community. Trans people are the reason I have oxygen in my lungs, and trans people are the reason why we made it to the moon. If trans people were on the Titanic, it wouldn't have sunk.
The silicone floats.
Can I have a word with Sarah?
Yes, Mama, of course you can.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I'm not good at answering questions, but you can say something to me.
No, it's just coming from me. I'm a great-grandma. I'm 67. I've seen it all. I fought for them. I fought for their marriage rights. I fought for the trans to have their rights. I live in Australia. I am now a second-class woman. I have got 3 generations of girls behind me, and now I've got to fight for them at 67 because they turned into traitors. They want our spaces. They want our everything. Can you see where I'm coming from?
I think so.
Yeah. Don't forget, we helped them get where they are.
I have a question.
And now they've trampled on us. And if you look up as Australia, Giggle versus Tickle, the court case was, I think, a month ago now. It changed all women in Australia. Our rights. We are second-class citizens. And that means my granddaughters are too.
I'm not very educated on all the rules and laws and rights that have been passed. I don't watch the news or literally keep up on anything because the news stresses me out. You might say I'm ignorant. I know. I'm sorry. I don't watch the news or am updated on anything.
You need to do a little bit of resourcing, maybe on your own. You said you like to read and write. Maybe just resource some things. And
by
really
right, I mean I type text messages to my 2 friends that I have.
All right, okay. I just wanted to let you know that they've done us wrong. Okay, I'm not saying all. Look, I've got no problem with trans people whatsoever. They stay on their side, we stay on our side. I will respect them if they will respect me, but they're not respecting me. They want our spaces, they want everything. It's just not on. So research it a bit. That's what I've got to say.
I think Sam was asking if, I think they had a question.